How's it going, guys? So, as you can see here, there's a lot of traction being made with DeFi. Hitting that 3 billion price point was big. I remember when it hit one, then it pretty immediately went down. So it was only at 1 billion for a little while, and then it kicked back up. But now we've hit three, and even that's in the midst of a soft market for Ethereum and a lot of the altcoins while people are trying to figure out things. But we're seeing a little bit of a bump with the stimulus kicking thing into high gear. So what you're seeing now is that DeFi is really becoming like in vogue, like, a la 2017 with the ICOs. And obviously I'm on board with that. On LinkedIn, I'm linkedin.com/in/DeFi. So I very much keen on the idea of decentralized finance manifesting something great for the world economy to be able to seamlessly from border to border send crypto. And what you're seeing now is what people thought was kind of comical in terms of whole countries, big countries, I should say, not just like Bahamas or Nevis or Turks and Caicos, but like China and stuff are really exploring and getting down the rabbit hole of getting some sort of digital token out there that can be seamlessly and sent from one party to another. And as a response to that, only recently has the Treasury and the SEC started looking very seriously into not allowing a third party to do it, kind of like Libra wanted to do in many ways, and control the online space when it comes to like dollars with their own fiat-backed currency or their stable coin. But we'll see what the U.S. does, but definitely know that China's currency is on there and starting to get some headway in terms of trying to build the ubiquity that the U.S. dollar has that would bode well for them in terms of keeping the float high for their national currency. So you can see here that the biggest change in the last month, I would say, is that Compound came out with their own token, and I think it's Comp, and with it you get ownership of the project and you get income and that sort of thing, and people, as a result of having that, to both incentivize people to do yield farming as well as to get a piece of the DeFi sizzle. People are getting into the Comp, and the price, I think, really exploded over the past couple of weeks, really, actually over a few day period. When it launched, then it really started to get big. So then they have the usual suspects here, which if you haven't been to a lot of these sites, they are really good. In particular, I've spent a lot of time talking with on the Telegram with the Nuo network and the DDEX and all these other options that are, even the ones that aren't getting much to scale are still getting 7 figures, and then 8 figures on up. So there's a lot of stable coins that are going into these projects, with the hopes that they'll get on board when someone's down at 27 and kicks it up to 1 or 2 or 3. But I do see that MakerDAO is fairly well entrenched at number 1, although the Compound is coming up the side. And then, Aave, I completely forgot about. They're making some real headway in the last few months as well. So there's a lot of entrance to the market, and I was on a call with the guys from LA Blockchain Week with Eli and Joseph, and they had the CEO of MakerDAO on there, and he was making a lot of good points about the future of DeFi and how this really can get some even more traction than it is, because in the grand scheme of things, this is big, but just look at some of the equities markets and this is a drop in the bucket. So there's the possibility of getting this to go much bigger, and I think it will. And I think if you're looking for a way to stay a part of it, then there are some yield farming videos by DeFi Dad and a bunch of other people on YouTube that tell you how to utilize Uniswap and use the different tools that can track the amount that someone is switching from Ethereum to any of the other tokens, and that if you rate lock, what you can expect in terms of an APR, or on your investment, or return on your investment during that time. Although, everything's so different on a day-to-day basis. A whale may come in and need to trade a ton of, Maker for Ethereum, and then the actual Uniswap pool will be incentivized to get that back to equilibrium, which will mean that because of the slippage, it'll add to some more of the volume that you get. So there's opportunities out there to do well with some of these yield farming opportunities, and doing so advances the ecosystem and certainly the use case of being able to send the dollars or what have you into these platforms. But if you look at them, many of them are in many ways just dApps, decentralized applications. I would say in particular, if you went to, and I must say the user interface is very nice for a lot of these. They offer the ability to interface with the smart contracts in a fairly seamless way. But you'll notice that the disparity between the borrow and the lend is quite high, which is their spread. And there are platforms that have a non-existent spread and get their fees from other ways, such as FTX, when they're doing their own internal lending. But for most platforms, this is where they kind of get in the middle, and they pay their engineers and help them scale. But this is a really user-friendly experience. I've interfaced with this on my MetaMask, and it kicks out a nice experience, and it can hold it within the wallet. And on the Telegram, they have a half dozen people that are just there to answer questions all day, every day. And I think if a lot of the companies followed this lead, that there would be a lot of good things to follow for DeFi. So stay tuned. We're going to be interviewing some people here in the next few days that are doing well in new media and are trying to still stay afloat and get some traction while the COVID situation still makes work a little bit unsteady, and the foundation for a lot of these full-time in-person jobs more fragile, and the decentralized model that a lot of crypto people have been used to for years is starting to scale. So we'll see how that bodes well for them, or if they're able to adapt. And I think that, as I said in a previous Twitter post, I would stack up the top minds in crypto against AI or cybersecurity and all those, because while you do hear a lot of noise of people that are trying to pump up a particular project, or they like the numbers that they're reading in the newspaper, you do see a lot of really smart people like Vitalik Buterin that are making some headway in the space and making projects that are having use cases that are starting to scale. So follow me on YouTube and check out my podcast, Altcoin Author. Oh, and then I have a new Twitter at Rekt, R-E-K-T. If you don't know, Rekt is a crypto term that you essentially kind of lost everything. Like you went too high on margin, like the 100x on a lot of the platforms, and it crashed and burned. So it's more of a expression that's kind of an insider term that's pretty funny. And if you do a search for it on Twitter, I think you'll like what you see. But Altcoin Author, I'm signing off. And I'll remember that my course, I'm teaching a course at CSU San Marcos in blockchain tech, the first for the CSU system here in California. So check out that. The enrollment deadline is August 31st. And if you need some further information, you can go ahead and reach out to me either on my LinkedIn or here on the channel. So be sure to like, comment, hit that bell. Talk to you later.